again, I really was tempting fate wearing a white sweatshirt while drinking my hot chocolate. So fun. Good morning vlog. This is my first time talking to you since I spilled my hot chocolate all over my sweatshirt, which turns out I got all over the back of it too because it got in my hair. But I'm on my second cup of hot chocolate today because why not? We're taking it slow today. It's a chill Christmas Eve. There's literally nothing on the schedule, and that's what I like about Christmas Eve with my family. All right, I think things are happening now that I just said that. Okay, hello guys. We are in the bathroom. I am inspired by Miss Remy Cruz to do my makeup today because I'm feeling pretty meh. Everybody's just lounging around, and even on lounge days, I do like to do my makeup to feel a little bit better. I don't know what it is about my period this month. She is just wreaking havoc, and I haven't like really looked at my acne. And I know I've been eating more sugar than I normally do, so that's part of it, but I can see all my chin breakouts, which is just lovely. But yeah, I was watching her vlog while I was putting on today's batch of cookies, and I was like, you know what? I have 12 minutes. I can do a quick 12-minute makeup look to feel put together. So that's my limit. Main base is going to be the Highlight Floss Filter by Charlotte Tilbury. This brow gel is the Patrick Ta one. I've been using it for, I think now it's 2 months, and I really like it. I was die hard for the Makeup by Mario one, which I would still recommend it, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to do a comparison of the two of them next year, I think. Really see which one holds up. I don't want to put on a ton of foundation, so I'm gonna do concealer as foundation instead. I finished Kingdom of Sweets, and I have mixed feelings. So for days I've been like, I'm really obsessed with this book. I really liked how dark and twisty it is. The main plot of this book is that Clara is actually a twin, and Godfather Drosselmeyer, on the day of their christening, which is Christmas, basically says like Clara is the light and Natasha, who's the twin, is the dark, which then sends the two of them on a very interesting journey for the trajectory of their lives and the way they are treated by their community. Also, I didn't realize this until the end, and I don't know if I just misheard. I want to finish this thought and then I'll come back to a potential reason why I maybe didn't mishear it. It takes place in Russia, and it takes place in Russia at a very interesting place historically for her to place this story. So it's still at a time where paganism and ideas about magic have sort of a decent foothold in the country, but Christianity is also very present. So while Godfather Drosselmeyer is kind of able to be this like magician, sorcerer, like people aren't really sure about him, the family that Clara and Natasha are from are Christian and go to church and all that kind of stuff. And the government is really what's the word? Royalty. They're living their lives. Natasha feels quite overshadowed by Clara. Clara is really beautiful. People want her around. Nobody wants Natasha around because of this idea placed around her. We get to the main Christmas that we're looking at, and I think they were 17. I believe they were turning 17. And we're starting to see the girls are falling in love, they're having relationships, and Clara is pregnant. And Natasha is in love with this boy who is not going to reciprocate. And then it's over the course of this Christmas party, after the Nutcracker is revealed and Natasha's present is revealed, it is revealed that Clara is engaged to the boy that Natasha is in love with. And from there, we get taken on an alternate version of the night we get to see in the Nutcracker, where Clara visits the Kingdom of Sweets. So while Clara is with her Nutcracker, while she's betrothed, tasting candies, being shown around this country, Natasha ends up there and is sort of chasing after her, like, where are we? What is going on? Like, what is happening? And she starts noticing different things about I'm going to use the term people lightly because she comes across like gingerbread men and stuff that she's coming across with. And we get to meet the Sugar Plum Fairy. They talk about all the performances that people are doing for Clara and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of this night is where the book really like takes a trajectory. So I'm going to kind of stop there because the rest of the book really hinges on what happens after the party. And I'm all for, and I said this in a previous vlog, like this story is dark. Murder, big time, like center of the story. I'm all for that. It was really up until the last 8 chapters. It felt like it was really like moving forward and there was so much emotion behind every decision. And then the last 2 chapters take place much further into the future of Natasha's life, because Natasha is the one we really follow. And I think it maybe could have been shorter. There comes a point in the book where it even like self-acknowledges, like you would think the story ends here, but it doesn't. Not that I think it should have ended there, because I do think there were some things that evolved after that point that kept the story interesting. Some things I did personally see coming. That's not something that I dislike in books. I know some people do, but when I can make predictions about things, I like to see whether I'm right or wrong. I don't get discouraged if I'm right. But I think, I don't know, I just didn't expect it to, it felt like it just fizzled, I think is where I'm landing. I'm talking this out as I'm processing my thoughts because I really just finished it like 20 minutes ago. That's what I'm looking for. The book just kind of fizzled, and it was right at the end too. I was with it. I was like, ooh, yeah, where is this gonna go? Where's this gonna go? Oh, okay. Oh, I just heard the timer. There's a minute left. I'm gonna pause here, get those cookies out of the oven. And now, because I'm baking them from frozen, we play the game of how much time do they really need? Because yesterday I definitely overbaked them a little bit. They were great when they came out of the oven, like when they were still warm, but when they cooled, they were too crisp. That is where I've landed with Kingdom of Sweets. I definitely think it's worth a read. I don't think it's not worth reading, especially if you want that like holiday book feel, but aren't really in the mood for light and fluffy, you know? Which I know sometimes is the case for me. I feel like I try and push myself into reading holiday romances when it's cold out and I just want to read something a little dark and a little twisty. Okay, good thing we are almost done. And now the cookies can cool. I am trying something slightly different. I added some peppermint pieces to the top to be festive. I think it's gonna be delicious. So Kingdom of Sweets does get a recommendation from me. I think I would give it 4 stars. I'm trying to decide in 2024 if I'm gonna keep doing star ratings. I kind of like the way I do it now, where I give it when I feel it, because I do think it sort of helps people put the book into some sort of perspective. However, I don't like doing it for every book, because there are some books where I'm just like, I don't feel anything. Not really sure what my hair is doing, to be honest. You know, it's not bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. I'm gonna put on a different undershirt under the sweater. This is my Grinch sweater. And I can't find, I literally had them yesterday, my Merry Grinchmas socks. I'm wondering, oh, they might be in my laundry, actually. Darn. I am gonna put on, it's like a sleeveless top that has a little bit of a higher neck because I like how that looks under this. I just threw this on over my t-shirt because I was cold. And then I'm gonna feel a little bit more put together. Also, let's go look at the cookies. Okay, here they are in all their glory. Is this focusing? I just chopped up a candy cane and then sprinkled on top the second they came out of the oven. I probably could have taken them out halfway through baking, sprinkled, but I was talking to you guys, so I didn't think about it. Yeah. Okay, I've sequestered myself out on my porch because I'm gonna talk about Holly Jolly Ever After. And I would not advise my parents watching this part of this video if they're watching at all, which I don't think they are. When I unboxed this a couple weeks ago, I talked about how I did not like the first book. I DNF'd it. I really tried to give it a go. I couldn't get into it, but I wanted to give this book a try, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm on page 168, and I feel like I'm gonna just try and read this whole thing tonight because it's fun and it's silly. So the first book followed a old teen boy band member getting cast in a Christmas film with like a very wholesome network that does Christmas films, and the girl that was supposed to play opposite him got into a bunch of trouble and broke her morality clause that was in her contract, so they had to hire somebody else. And in the kerfuffle of hiring somebody, they ended up hiring a porn star, and then obviously it like couldn't come out that she did that, blah blah blah. So premise seemed great. I had a lot of issues with the writing, but also the way that the industry was portrayed. I work in costumes, I don't work in TV, but one of her like best friends on set was the costume designer, and I just had so many issues with the way he was portrayed. It also felt like it took them forever to really get into the meat and potatoes of their relationship. Like there was so much with the costume designer that I was like, I can't do it. Like if you're not gonna put the main characters at the front of this, I'm not gonna be able to get into it. So I DNF'd it, and I talked to a bunch of other people who also had trouble getting into that book, who have very similar reading styles to me. Oh, here's the thing. I live by a hospital, so I can never tell on Christmas whether the sirens are the like Grinch and Santa are coming, or if it's real, because we live around the corner from a hospital. I think this is real though. Every year we miss it. Like we're always like, oh, that was Santa, because we literally watch ambulances and fire trucks go by all the time. So I knew several other people last year who also couldn't get into the book for various reasons. So it made me feel less like, oh, okay, this is less like, I don't know. It just made me feel like I wasn't being like snobby or something, you know? But when this came, I feel like in the back of my mind, I knew that they were releasing a sequel, but I also, because I DNF'd the first book, I wasn't paying attention. But when this came, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a real shot. And I'm glad I did. The book follows the girl that got dropped from the contract in book number 1. And you find out that she has narcolepsy and had basically had a really bad bout of exhaustion from going to a music festival in the middle of the desert in Texas. But her ex-husband sold the story as she was having a drug situation and that's why she was in the hospital, but she was being treated for exhaustion. Her husband also cheated on her. Her family like left her in the dust because she like violated her contract. She's supposed to owe all this money to the production company because she didn't fulfill her contract. And she's basically just like, her whole life crumbled around her in a second. She gets approached to do a new Christmas movie because at the end of the first book, basically what ends up happening is the channel decides to make a like after dark production company where they're going to make Christmas movies that have like softcore edge to them. And they want her to star in the first one that they're making opposite this man, Callum Lieberman, who was in the same band as the guy from the last book/movie. She had an experience with him earlier in her career where they had been at I think it's at the Teen Choice Awards, the ones with the surfboard, that's the award. He like dropped it on her foot. She wasn't having a great night. This is where her narcolepsy comes in. She like went out to her car to just take a breather and I think fell asleep, and he took a picture of her. And then when it circulated, people were like, what's going on with this like good little Christian girl? Because that's the other thing. The channel is very like morality centered because it has a big Christian base and she comes from a Christian family. So all her Christian fans were like, hello. And so she kind of had to like rebuild her image a little bit. And so she hasn't seen him since that night. And she's kind of like, how are we going to do this? But she's also like trying to reclaim herself for herself, but also like reclaim her image, reclaim her femininity, reclaim like literally everything that feels like it's just been either taken from her or that she was never able to take for herself because of her upbringing. In this journey of shooting the movie, she realizes that she does not have the experience to film some of the scenes. And so she asks Callum if he can be her teacher, which is one of my favorite tropes. I do enjoy that in romance books. So it's definitely, like from the jump, I definitely think it's steamier than the last book. Definitely feels weird to be reading in my parents' house. Just like on the couch, like la la la. But it's what I want to read right now. So whatever. We'll see how it goes. But that's what I'm reading. And the baking on Christmas Eve at 10 p.m. has commenced. I don't think a single year goes by where we're not cooking something this late. And did we have all day? Yeah, we did. I'm doing the French toast casserole for tomorrow morning. It's been a couple of years since we've done this, but it always turns out very good. My mom got this recipe from a friend of hers, I think. And then I've made it a couple times and subbed in things from other recipes I found. So kind of combining a couple things. And then my mom has the mixer going because she's making the pavlova. Very exciting. So I'll just kind of show you me making the casserole. And yeah. And then Vlogmas will be over. Light died, but I want to have the Christmas tree in the back, so you're getting one last clip with not great lighting. Sorry about it. I remembered while I was cooking that I had meant to tell you guys about the audiobook of Kingdom of Sweets. Before I sign off, I'm going to go back to that thought really quick. I was really confused because it felt like I kept missing information as I was reading it, and then last night I had like zoned out for a little bit, so I wanted to go back and make sure I understood what was happening, so I decided to do it in the actual book. And I realized that in one of the chapters, the audiobook skipped like the first 2 pages of a chapter. And I was like, that's so bizarre. So I'd be really interested to know if it also did that throughout the book. Like, I can't imagine, oh, I'm covering the speaker. I can't imagine that that's the first time in the audiobook it happened, because it was like 12 chapters to the end-ish. That's just one other thing that I'm sad about, that I mostly listened to it on the audiobook from, because I do feel like I missed a lot of stuff. I did try to tandem read it, like read it with my eyeballs and listen at the same time, but I know for sure I majority listened to it. So if there were any other moments like that, there's probably a like not unsignificant amount of info that I've missed out on. I am getting ready to go to bed, so I think I'm gonna sign off for the last time, at least in 2023. Granted, I don't think I made any YouTube videos that weren't shorts in 2023, so I hope that I keep making YouTube videos in 2024. For as burnt out as I feel and overwhelmed by this style of content creation I have felt for the last 25 days, has been a really great project, and I feel like did exactly what I wanted it to. It re-sparked my creativity. It made me look at content creation in a different way. It made me consider where I want my content creation to go in 2024, and I got to give you a little peek into my life around December. I don't know how to end this. I've never ended a Vlogmas before. This was so much fun. If you guys have been following this journey but maybe aren't subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button, give this video a like, and I will see you all in 2024. That's a wrap on Vlogmas.